Do you ever feel like technology is somehow supposed to make life easier for you, but you end up feeling a little bit overwhelmed? Well, if that's your situation today, I'm going to be sharing my top 3 no-tech tools that will enable you to get more stuff done, have better focus, and get better success. And if you hang around, I'm also going to be sharing an incredible bonus that's going to enable you to change your behavior, to get better results and achieve your goals faster than ever before. Welcome to the Nils Vesk Show, where every episode is designed to help you think faster, solve problems creatively, and generate breakthrough ideas to catapult your success. Okay, the first of my top 3 no-tech tools to enable you to get more stuff done, to think smarter, and to get breakthrough results through good ideas is mind mapping. Now, you may or may not be familiar with mind mapping, but a lot of people don't know the history of mind mapping and how it can actually be used. So first up, to get a good understanding of this, I think we've got to go back in time. I want to take you back to a brilliant thinker, and I'm sure we've all heard of him before, Leonardo da Vinci. Yes, the amazing Renaissance master. Now, what da Vinci did amazingly well was he had great ideas, but he also had this ability to capture them and communicate them and use those ideas to spark new other inventions and ideas as well. And essentially, if you look back at some of the historic drawings of what da Vinci used to do in his note-taking, is he would start with something in the middle. Say, for example, a core concept. Let's call it flight, the concept of flight. And then from this core central part, he would draw out these lines, you could call them radiating branches, that would have notes on them, and then sub-branches that would spear off those as well. And da Vinci used those not only to capture his thoughts, but also to spark great ideas and also to help process his thinking. So hopefully da Vinci gets you excited enough. Some other famous people over the years who have done great mind mapping. Madame Marie Curie, one of the famous chemists and scientists, the only person, I think first woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize, the first person to win 2 Nobel Peace Prizes as well, did lots of stuff in radioactivity and amazing things like that. Now, the other third person who was pretty amazing with it was Charles Darwin, evolutionary scientist. So there are some great people who have used it. And I think it was probably around the late 70s or early 80s, an Englishman by the name of Tony Buzan popularized the term and trademarked the term mind map and started to share this technique that others have used before. So I'm going to give you my spin on it just a little bit more so you understand how it works. Now, what I found, and you might be able to see this if you're not watching and you're listening in here, I'm just holding up a sheet that shows essentially a core central circle where I've got this is my week and I'm doing a mind map for my week. And off that, I branch out to have different ideas, whether it's activities or goals that I need to do, which then branch out into smaller components as well. And that's simply all a mind map needs to be. You could add pictures if you wanted to. You could add arrows, you could add color. All of those things help you to remember well, which is good if you're interested in from a study perspective or you want to process things. That will help really well. A lot of research shows that mind maps help us remember more. The other thing that it does is it gives us the opportunity to clarify the mind. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of thoughts running through my head, a lot of juggling balls going on, and capturing all of the thoughts but in an organized way using a mind map is so productive, and there's no way I'd be able to write it out in a sequential list from 1 to 60. It just wouldn't work that way because our brains are association machines, so we need to give it space. Okay, so that's what we can do in order to start to capture ideas. The other thing that we can think of when we're using mind maps is that A mind map can be used to spark new ideas. Let's say, for example, I'm looking for a new idea for a microphone. I could write that core word down the microphone, then I might be looking at size. So I might draw a line out, a branch, write the word size, and then start to look at different sizes. Does it work if it's bigger, if it's smaller? Do I look at things? I might branch out and go texture, or I might go appearance. I might look at color. I might look at wavelengths, or I might look at equalizers. I might look at power sources. And very quickly I can start to use these branches to trigger off new ideas. So the best suggestion for you to do is to grab a sheet of paper and pull it in landscape format. Always works better that way. Start with your core concept in the middle and branch out and branch out. It's also a really good way to enable you to get to sleep at the end of the day if you've got so many thoughts, because the brain just wants to capture it, and mind maps enable you to do that. Cool? Awesome. Okay, so give it a go. All right. Now I want to share with you our second most popular, no-tech tool that I found that works really well. And that is about, turning a to-do list into a get-to-do list. Now stay with me on this one. Something that can happen in terms of productivity or people who perform well is that a lot of people will have the ability to do the activities that we don't want to do. I mean, let's be honest, they might rehearse a little bit harder, they might do another extra call, they might do extra research, but they just take it to that next level. And I think the big difference for people who go that extra yard or go that extra mile have made the effort and see the value of doing that activity. Now, if you're anything like me, you've probably got a to-do list that feels, oh my God, just like it's a extension. It just rolls out and rolls out. And I get that. There's lots of things to do. And sometimes it can feel a little bit intimidating, or we go, oh, I don't really want to do that. And so rather than calling it a to-do list, the first thing that you can do is just put the words get to. So then it becomes a get to-do list. And then when you're writing out your list, let's say, for example, make a sales call, start to preface it by writing out the words, I get to make a sales call that can enable me to increase my income by X amount. So what we're trying to do is flip our thinking from one of obligation, in that I must or I have to, need to do it, into one of I have the opportunity to do this. You know what? I've got the opportunity to change someone's life through potentially getting this work in my sales call. Let's say, for example, I have to, or I feel like I've got to start writing on my next book. Okay, it might feel like, oh God, that sounds really intimidating. But if I flip that to I get to share some ways that can change people's business careers by writing on my book. Bang. It just changes your perception, your mindset, and you'll get better results straight away from doing it. And now, some people might say, boy, but isn't that going to take a lot of extra time? No, it's really just putting the reason in the wording, and it won't take long at all. So please give it a go and let me know how you go on that one. Cool. Now on to my third and final no-tech tool to enable you to get some breakthrough results and get more stuff done and think smarter. And this one is a really powerful one. It's called false ranking. I may have spoken about this sometime in the past, but still, the reason why I love this is there's no technology involved. And a simple way to think about this is we have, as I said earlier on, we often have a huge list of things to do. So I've just written out some things to do today of what I've got to do. I've got down record podcast. I've got to do a new behavioural swarm. Call the Reserve Bank about a project, another sales call, an agency call, check in with my broker, update a project list, book writing, and the sort. And sometimes we get caught up in the sizzle of doing an activity that may be nice to do, but not necessarily the most important thing to do. And one of the challenges that we have in our brains is that we tend to get overwhelmed when there is a lot of choice. The human brain often works best in making decisions when it's A versus B, option 1 or option 2, X or Y, rather than, here's 15 to choose from. And so a technique that we can use to help us is to do a little bit of what's called false ranking. And so how we do this is, if you can see on this video, if you're listening, I've just got a list of all of my activities down here, is I play off. I go 1 versus 1. So I might go, okay, I've got down record podcast. Is recording a podcast more important than me writing out my new behavioural swarm? Now, the new behavioural swarm for me is an activity I want to do. I would say, you know what? I think recording the podcast is more important. So I put a tick next to it, or a check for those in America. Next, I go down from the first versus the third. So I've got, is recording the podcast more important than doing a sales call to the Reserve Bank? I'd say probably doing a sales call to the Reserve Bank to one of my clients there is more important. So I put a tick to that. And I continue to go down as record podcast versus the next one. Is the record podcast more important than a sales call to the CEO? I'd say the sales call is more important. Is the podcast more important than updating the agency? I'd probably say updating the agency. Is recording a podcast more important than the broker? I'd say the broker. And I kind of work my way down through that. Now what I do is I move down to my second action, which is new behavioural swarm. Is a new behavioural swarm more important than the sales call to the Reserve Bank? No, sales call is. And so I continually work down with each one of these, working out which one is more important. Then I would go to the third one. Is the sales call to Reserve Bank more important than the CEO one? Yes, it is, because it's got a bigger potential. Is it more important than the agency call? Yes, it is. And so what that gives you as you work one against all of these others is you get a binary decision process, because now I can tabulate and go, oh, this podcast was only scored 1, whereas the call to the Reserve Bank has scored 4 versus 2 versus 3. And so what it does for us is it enables us to prioritise what's the most important thing to do in an objective, structured way that reduces the overwhelm. And you going, oh, I'd like to do this podcast because it's really important. It is, but this calling, cash flow and calling the Reserve Bank is probably more important than filming the podcast. Does that make sense? Hopefully that feels right. So there you have 3 really simple but powerful non-tech ways that you can get more stuff done, think better, and get breakthrough results. Now, before we go, I did promise a bonus, and I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. But before we go on to this bonus behavioural hack, I want to share with you a tool that I found can really help you when you feel your mojo is low. And I've created a really powerful, quick read, but fun and inspiring and motivational book called 40 Reasons Why You Can Become a Sought Out Creative Business Thinker. And to get it, it's totally free. Just head over to ideamaverick.com/creative. That's ideamaverick.com/creative. And you can download that ebook for free. And please go ahead there, use it. It will put a smile on your face. It shares some good tips from different people, and it can help to keep your mojo up on those, let's call them stormy Monday or a tough day like that. Cool. All right, so let's come back to this bonus. And the bonus I wanted to share with you is a hack around how can we change our behaviors and why this works so well. It can tie together both our conscious and our unconscious, rewire them in the right way so that we can get things done and we're more aligned with our goals and get better performance. And it's pretty simple. It's called creating, I don't really have a title for it, but I'd say writing out a list of 100 reasons why you need to change. Yes, 100 reasons. Now, let me preface this. I think it was last year I kind of realized I was struggling a little bit with some of my sales work. I was, doing marketing, and because that was kind of fun and creative, but actually getting on the phone, I'd sort of been letting that slide a little bit. And I think I'd become a little bit lax with keeping those sales coming through the door. And even though we've got other people to help out and we've got partnerships and things, I knew I needed to change my own behavior around that. So what I did was start to write out 100 reasons why I needed to change my sales behavior. And so the first one would be, I need to change my sales behavior because our net income is reduced by 10%. Like, that would be number one. Number two, I need to change my behavior, or just simply I need to change because the less work, the less sales I get, the longer I'm going to have to work in my career before I can retire. Right? Number three, I also need to change because we need some updated equipment, and that's going to require a big investment of capital. I need more income to pay for that one. And so I just would go one after the other, after the other, after the other. Now, the reason for going for the number 100 is that we want to, as I said, rewire both the conscious and the unconscious brain that this is important. And when we signal not only to the conscious brain, but we're doing it enough like that where it feels, wow, this is really important, it's signaling to the unconscious mind that this is important for me to do and it is safe for me to do. Because more often than not, what stops us from creating success or getting results is our unconscious mind that has certain behaviors and habits and limiting beliefs that it's set up around why we shouldn't do it. And most of them were done with good intention to protect us from doing something. So, for example, when I was 7 years old and I asked whether, can I wash your car to someone, and they said no, I might have been offended by it and I felt a bit sad, and so I protected my unconscious mind, said I'll never ask people again whether I can wash their car for money. I'm just giving that as an example. So writing out these 100 different reasons will help to rewire the unconscious mind and the conscious mind to keep you aligned on your goals and why you need to change. Trust me, yes, it will feel like a little bit of work. You don't have to do it in one sitting. It could be over a few days that you do it. But I find usually I actually did some of these recently for a different behavior, and I think I sort of did about 25 a day. So in 4 days, I'd had that 100 reasons, and then I look back over it every day or every week for how long I need to sort of reprogram my mind in those ways. So that's it, that bonus there. Hopefully that's going to help you to rechange or rethink and start to get some better results. So that's it from me. So again, today you've learned 3 really cool, powerful, no-tech ways to help you think smarter, get more stuff done, and get some better results, as well as this bonus rehack. And make sure you check out that free ebook, 40 Reasons Why You Can Become a Creative, Sort-Out Business Thinker. Thanks so much for tuning in, and please let us know what you like if you want to hear any more stories, and we'll see you again sometime in the future. See you later.